Good day, everyone. Thank you all for joining our internal webinar on Base Database Cloud at Customer Launch Announce. This new hybrid cloud platform is another powerful addition to your portfolio of deployment options, enabling customers to modernize their infrastructure while meeting data residency, security, regulatory compliance requirements within their own data centers. My name is Amar Syed, Director of Product Marketing for Database. Just a couple of housekeeping. This call is recorded. You will receive all the materials presented, recordings, along with supporting FAQs in the next 24 hours. Please post your questions throughout the session in the Q&A. We have panelists responding live. With that, I'll hand it over to Michael Brown.
Amar, thank you very much. And thank you all for joining us, whether it's good morning, good afternoon, good evening for you, wherever you are around the world. We're really excited about this Oracle-based database cloud at customer and its ability to bring private AI for data everywhere or anywhere. You'll see this theme throughout the discussion that we talk about today. So before we get going with the meat of the presentation, I wanted to share with you some of the really positive reactions we've had from our industry analysts and on this topic. And I'm not going to read this whole thing, but Holger Mueller, if you know him, he's a very well-known analyst working for Constellation Research. And he's really, really positive about how enterprise AI is going to take adoption everywhere, not just in one location, but throughout an enterprise. And how what we're doing with Base Database Cloud at Customer is going to give people a platform that allows them to accelerate AI adoption without creating another generation of fragmented infrastructure. I think that's really, really key. We're trying to get away from having to have fragmented infrastructure. And then here's another one from Ron Westfall, the vice president at Hyperframe Research. And he's just acknowledging that this is, with the success of Exa Cloud at Customer, Ron's been reporting on this for probably as long as we've had Exadata Cloud at Customer. Is that really that we're taking this to a new level that's allowing us to bring this capability really down into the regional offices, the distributed locations, and mid-sized companies that want to be able to do AI, want to be able to do it next to where their data is, but haven't had the ability to do so because they haven't had a proper platform to do it on. So, and then we've just released a blog on this. We have actually 13 different quotes from different analysts that you'll see on that blog. And it's all about how this platform, this data-centric platform, is going to help our customers, I should say, have private AI for data everywhere. You may know More Insights. They're one of the leading places. They're on TV a lot. Futurum, NAND Research. They're all saying the same type of thing. And without further ado, I think I'm turning it over to Tushar to talk about the rest of the product.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Michael, and hello to everyone. As you saw, some pretty exciting quotes from our analysts. It seems they are pumped, and we equally are pumped out here from our product teams about this new cloud service. And as you see that we are talking, the focus for this new service is our mid-market segment. And essentially in this part of the segment, their data needs are evolving. In fact, there are some significant market signals out there. By 2034, the projected database market is planned to grow north of $276 billion. And out of that, more than $68 billion is going to be for AI-optimized database management software. And so these evolving needs are bringing out some practical pain points and requirements for business-critical data in this specific mid-market segment. And these pain points are customers are facing a lot of different private AI solutions, which is leading to sprawl and integration challenges. They have to bring these different AI solutions that are disconnected, they have to bring them together. Number two, customers continue to be confronted with manual fragmented patching processes, which is essentially delaying them uptaking critical security updates. Now, this is super important in today's times because, as you know, the latest AI models can very quickly exploit any AI vulnerabilities. So it's super important to quickly be able to patch your data stack. Number three, customers still continue to over provision their systems, planning for performance spikes, and this is leading to wastage of their system resources. And as as you know, a lot of our customers continue to have their requirements around data residency and localization requirements. They need that control for their data and applications wherever they reside. And then finally, specifically in this mid-market segment, customers continue to face low IT budgets, but they are also having high system administration and maintenance costs. So what's really needed is a combination of things. But number one, completely co-engineered, integrated solution that runs databases, applications, and AI agents together. Number two, an automated system to provide rolling updates for critical product fixes, critical security fixes, automated CPU scaling or elastic CPU scaling, so customers can quickly react to business demands and not size for peak performance loads, as well as providing full control of their applications and data. So full data residency requirements are addressed, as well as number five, low cost with a cloud subscription-based model. And essentially removing all the infrastructure maintenance overhead so that customers don't have to do all of those operational tasks and essentially lower their operational costs, right? So those are some of the needs that we think should be there to address this solution. And that is exactly why we built this new cloud service, Oracle-based database cloud at Customer. And essentially, there are, the key value proposition behind this is there are three key outcomes that are central to this service. Number one, simplicity. Number two, reliability and security. And number three, low cost. On the simplicity side, this service provides a simple AI data hybrid cloud with unique cloud database, our Oracle AI database, with all the automation for applications as well as private AI, all running at customer locations on the same underlying infrastructure for the specific mid-market segment, which includes small organizations, departments, or remote sites. Highly reliable and secure. So this service provides a unique software as well as physical infrastructure architecture that protects customers against all types of outages, as well as addressing security and data residency requirements. And then low cost with the unique cloud automation as part of this service, built into this service, and the pay-per-use subscription model, as well as Oracle managing the underlying infrastructure so customer doesn't have to do that, greatly reduces the operational costs, right? So these are some of the key tenets of our value proposition behind this service. Now, who have we designed this service for, right? Who have we built this service for? And essentially, as we talked about, it is focused towards the mid-market database customers who cannot migrate to public cloud because they have data residency requirements, they have regulatory requirements, so their applications and data have to stay at the customer location. Now, we see three primary customer profiles here. One is Oracle database customers that are running on commodity hardware, or Oracle database appliance customers that want to move to a cloud operational model. And third, customers that are running non-Oracle databases like Postgres and Mongo or SQL Server on commodity hardware. And across these three customer profile, the value is consistent. With this service, the customers get, number one, Oracle engineered systems performance, reliability, and security. Number two, all the operational savings, cost savings that they get from the cloud automation, as well as Oracle managing the underlying infrastructure. And number three, a complete enterprise-grade data and AI functionality with our converged Oracle AI database. Okay, so how does this fit within our Oracle Database Cloud portfolio? So what you see on this slide is I have kind of split this into two different categories based on the type of workloads that run on our products as well as cloud services. So mid-scale workloads and large-scale mission-critical workloads. So starting at the bottom with the large-scale mission-critical workloads, as you all know, on premises, we have our marquee Exadata database machine, our very popular engineered system. For hybrid cloud, we have the Exadata Cloud@Customer, which runs the autonomous AI database as well as the Exadata database service. And then in public cloud, we have the same services running on the dedicated Exadata Cloud infrastructure, which is deployed in OCI public cloud as well as in multi-cloud with Azure, AWS, and at Google. Now on the top row, with the mid-scale type of workloads, we have our Oracle Database Appliance, which is an engineered system that runs on premises. And then on the extreme right out here in public cloud, we have our autonomous AI database, we have our Exascale database service, as well as the base database service. And so with this new hybrid cloud service, base database service running on dedicated infrastructure called as Data Infrastructure Cloud@Customer, we are really addressing a hole that we had in our portfolio and allowing our customers now, customers that have this requirement of mid-scale workloads, but they have those data residency requirements and they don't need the Exadata class performance and scale. This new service really meets their needs. So I think we have a complete portfolio now. Now, having said that, from an Oracle sales motions perspective, as well as our focus on FY27 sales plays, our primary focus is to lead with public cloud. All of our database cloud services in public cloud. That should be our primary go-to place for taking our cloud services to our customers. Lead with that. Lead because we have all of our autonomous database services. Lead with that. We have our base database service, Exascale service, Exadata service, all of them both in OCI as well as in multi-cloud. Now, if customers have data residency requirements, have regulatory requirements, then you should position our Exadata Cloud@Customer, our marquee cloud service for running large-scale mission-critical workloads. And then for customers that have certain workloads that need to run in departments and branches or remote sites that don't need that Exadata class of performance and scale, well, then we have this Data Infrastructure Cloud@Customer and the base database service running on it, right? So as you can see, we are really extending our Oracle Database Cloud portfolio, gives us additional means of generating revenue, as well as from a competitive angle, it addresses from our competitors coming through the lower end of the economic side. Okay. And then at a high level, I want to just kind of share, this is what our simple unified hybrid cloud consists of. So of course, it runs our Oracle AI database. It runs the applications on the same application VMs that Bryce is going to talk a lot more in detail. It also runs some of our AI services that we have recently released, which is the Oracle Private AI Services Container, as well as the Private Agent Factory, both of them running in the application VMs on the same underlying infrastructure. And all of these supported on our high performance flash storage. Now, given this is a cloud service, the infrastructure is connected to the cloud control plane running in an OCI region of customer's choice, providing our customers the same automation, the same APIs, as well as the same user experience as they see with any OCI public cloud service. Okay, so hopefully that kind of gave you an overview of why we are building this service, what the value proposition is, how it fits within our broader database cloud portfolio. And now I'm going to turn it over to Bryce, who will talk more in detail about the service and infrastructure.
Thanks, Tushar.
Bryce?
Yeah, let's dive into some specifics on the system here. First of all, this is a really flexible service. We've got kind of a couple components to talk about here at a macro perspective as far as the service goes. There's the base database, VMs, and then there's the application VMs, and having both of them on the same infrastructure is critical for the AI solution that Tushar mentioned before, along with any other number of solutions that might involve a sidecar application, kind of running alongside that database with low latency access. So we'll talk about them both here. The base database Cloud Customer Service itself can support Oracle Database 26 AI or 19c. It can support RAC or single instance databases. So we have RAC for kind of the higher end workloads that need HA, or you want to scale across 2 nodes for maintenance and that kind of thing. Or we can support the single instance databases for the more cost sensitive segments. There's just a lot of customers out there that are perfectly fine with one database. And so we have some options for them too. If you're using RAC, we support Grid Infrastructure 26 AI at this time. We have flexible VMs, meaning that you can provision the amount of memory, the amount of cores that you want, and that you can scale those database VMs, as your needs grow and surge and so forth. We also, importantly, have 4 licensing options. We have the standard edition license, which is really a game changer in the low end of the market in our cloud portfolio. There's a lot of customers who don't want, can't afford the more expensive options. And so this is really great to bring those kind of smaller workloads with more basic needs in to this ecosystem. We also have Enterprise Edition HP, and Enterprise Edition EP. Just like the base database service in the public cloud has, and this extreme performance version is great because it supports RAC. So if you have our license included option on this service with EEEP, then you have RAC included in that. Of course, you can bring your own license if you already have your own licenses from on-prem and you just want to reuse those as well. So switching over now to application VMs, obviously it's its own VM, so that's how we isolate the application from the databases, so you don't have to run it in the database VM, which can be problematic. But you still get low latency access to that database tier, which is really useful for a lot of use cases, including the AI one that Tushar mentioned before. You have to provision a minimum of only 1 OCPU per app VM. So that's kind of a pretty small scale point to start with. And you can have anywhere from 8 gigs on up to 8 gigs times the number of OCPUs you have. So it gives you just a sense of like the memory scalability. We support a pre-canned image of Linux 8 or 9, Oracle Linux 8 or Oracle Linux 9 in the app VM. And just one important thing to note, the applications that one would run in this application VM are installed and supported by your customer, right? So it's simply a Linux VM where you could run whatever workload you choose to need. You meaning the customer has to support whatever software is running in there and install it and maintain it and all of that. Okay, so finally, 4-year subscription, 1-year optional extension, very similar to XSCC in that regard. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about our cloud automation and the value that it brings. So kind of the value of all of our cloud services really is that we have this automation that really lowers costs and risk associated with doing things manually, right? So for example, lifecycle management, right? Whether we're talking about databases and patching databases, or we're talking about the actual infrastructure. If you're familiar with our Exadata Cloud Customer Service, for example, conceptually, it's kind of similar where we handle a lot of the lifecycle automation for the customer. And that not only reduces costs, but it reduces security risk because we're able to help our customers better keep up with all this security risk that Tushar mentioned before. And we're able to do that across the stack, which is pretty differentiated. We'll see later in the competitive slides. We support an HA configuration that leverages RAC. And this, the ability to just turnkey deploy RAC, especially in this low end segment, is really a game changer. We're talking about probably a lot of customers who don't want to hire consultants to set things up and all of that. the ability to do a turnkey rack deployment that's sort of aligns with best practices right out of the box is really hugely valuable. And of course, then we support that deployment as well. We have automated backups. You can use NFS or recovery appliance even for the backup destination. And obviously, you know, recovery appliance comes with all sorts of great advantages, you know, in terms of being able to deal with ransomware and all these other kind of security. There's a whole security angle, obviously, to recovery appliance that's pretty powerful, that can fit in really well with this whole, you know, AI bomb-proof security story that we try to tell, right? And so finally, DataGuard, you know, having that built in, HA capability again with DataGuard, very valuable. And then finally, the online compute core scaling benefit. You know, you can essentially turn cores off from a licensing perspective when you don't need them, and then turn them back on dynamically and without downtime when necessary to support the load. And that's really valuable and saves a lot of money in those low load periods of time. Okay, so let's talk about some of the detailed bits here and the specs themselves. So we have on the data plane a 2-server architecture that's architected for rack. You know, so if one node goes down, you have the other, and of course you need the shared storage to do that, which we have in all-flash JBOD. Now these are 32 core servers. You have 32 core servers, excuse me, and you have 60 of those cores usable when it's all said and done, and you're running the control plane services and so forth, which run in VMs on those servers. And we have 660 gigs of usable memory. So so that gives you an idea on a per server basis how much you have to work with for customer workloads, and that would be usable across both the database VMs and the app VMs that we discussed before. Storage is run by ASM. It's high redundancy ASM managed storage, and our starting configuration ends up having 11.6 terabytes of usable space. Now, the storage for these are these 7.68 terabyte SSDs, and you can add them in increments of 6, right? So then the max scalability with the system usage taken into account, you get 47.2 terabytes usable at the max end. So it's 1 JBOD for this system. This shared storage isn't only used for databases, it's also used for the VM images. So that avoids issues like out of space for the number of, you know, if you have too many VMs on the servers, you don't have to worry about running out of space there, because that all goes in the shared storage in an ACFS file system down there. Networking, very similar to XSCC for those who are familiar. We have separated networks for the control plane. You know, there's traffic that goes back to OCI to do all the kind of remote cloud orchestrated management of this thing. That's on a completely physically separate network from the customer workload, right? So we have a client network and a separate backup network. These are physically separate networks that connect to the customer's data center switches. So we have their, typically it's going to be a private network at the customer, and that's where we run, you know, the high performance networking out to the database clients, wherever they might be on the customer's network. Okay, let's talk a little bit more about the AI solution that Tushar referenced before. So there's a couple of elements to discuss here. So just to back up, what we're really talking about here from a value perspective is customers who want to run AI against some data workload that they don't want any egress on, ideally, right? We got all kinds of great public cloud services that have all sorts of advantages. And as Tushar said, you know, when you can use those, you know, we sell those first. But when we're coming to a customer who has, you know, maybe some type of fraud detection workload that's running on internal data or something like that, they just maybe by policy or maybe it's a law in a particular country. You just can't have data egressing at all to the public cloud. So this is a really great solution for some of those workloads. And what we have here is we'll use a database VM to run an Oracle AI vector database. And then we'll have a application VM that runs this Oracle private AI stack, right? So we have the private AI factory, which is kind of a automatic or a highly automated way of producing an agent from either a template or from this agent builder feature. Many of you are probably already familiar with that, but it's essentially there's a nice, graphical experience for it to build an agent. And it needs a backend, right? And so we have this private AI services container that you can install on the application VM in essentially an air-gapped manner, so that once the bits are downloaded and staged and you put them on the app VM, there's no egress of data needed. So this private agent factory can interact with the private AI services container to do things like embedding. So how you would encode an unstructured data file of some type and then put the vectors into an Oracle database for later retrieval. And then you could also you could set up say a RAG workload or a deep research agent that would do a workload against an LLM that you've brought into this private AI services container, and could do one of these kind of deep research iterative RAG use cases that involves the vector search capabilities of the database and comparing vectors from a prompt with vectors from the data set that had been embedded previously. And this is all kind of possible to do in this small app VM that's contained on this system that's co-located with the database for low latency access reasons and so forth, and it doesn't require data egress. So we can kind of meet these data residency needs and still run some of these advanced AI use cases that are so interesting in the market these days, in this kind of controlled setting, and yet have that kind of cloud user experience, both for the data tier with the base database service and for the AI tier through this private agent factory interface. So with that, let's talk a little bit about one of the big advantages of Oracle over our competitors, which is that we offer the same service experience everywhere. So we have the same Oracle AI database anywhere we run it, obviously, and we have the same AI capabilities anywhere we run it, and we have the same cloud automation experience anywhere. And we have this pay-per-use licensing model, whether it's the hybrid cloud model or public cloud, and this service experience is available in the public cloud, either in OCI or one of our multi-cloud partners, or it's available in the hybrid cloud model with that data plane on-prem for data residency. And you could run that on Exadata Cloud at Customer. If you want kind of a hub and spoke model, you could have the Exadata in the data center doing the heavy lifting with maybe satellite locations, branch offices, running this base database cloud at Customer. And the whole thing's unified by this common user experience, right? And so that's really something that's unique to the Oracle portfolio, is to be able to bring together all these disparate data locations, but have kind of the same data management framework. Okay, let's talk about reliable and secure. So many of our best practices are built in to the system. So obviously over the years, we've developed many best practices and simplified and idiot-proofed installation. So if you have 2 servers and you want to run RAC, we can do a turnkey deployment of that. And having that direct attached shared storage makes that all work all possible. But rather than having to do it yourself, why not have a cloud do it for you? And the benefit of that is really that you don't have to worry too much about whether you've set it up right. If you need support, you can get it, and support already knows how the thing's set up. This isn't open systems, right? This is a This is a cloud service delivered on-prem. And so having this thing architected for HA and for rack, where we have both failover capability across two servers, but also non-disrupted maintenance capability over both servers. Again, if you're using Enterprise Edition Extreme Performance, this is really a game changer in terms of being able to do these sort of advanced things simply and at this lower cost point. Now, for application VMs, obviously we don't have rack. We can't do this like same thing we do with the database servers. But what we do have is a failover feature where if we lose a server that an app VM is running on, because it leverages that shared storage, we can boot it on the other server. And so that is automated. We have that capability, which is really great. For disaster recovery, we also have automation. DataGuard is another technology that's well known. It's kind of the flagship way of doing DR on a database in the industry still, and it can be tricky to set up and get right, and you have to really know what you're doing. Well, we have kind of push button deployment for DataGuard in our cloud automation. So if you have a second infrastructure, because what's better than selling one is selling two, you can have a second location where you can do this kind of push button DataGuard setup, and not only that, but the switch over to the other side, that's all automated too. So you could do sort of a push button switch over experience on it, and that's something that, again, especially in this mid-market segment where we have a lot of kind of smaller companies maybe or limited budgets, they can't go out and hire consultants and things to do a manual DataGuard setup necessarily. And so having our cloud automation deliver that value for them with a few button pushes or a few API calls is a game changer for a lot of these customers in this segment. Similarly, not only do we have HA and DR automation, we have security automation. So Oracle, obviously well known for having robust set of security features in the database and security strategy as a company. There are many accolades about Oracle and security. And those practices and those features are sort of built into the system. So we secure data at the source first and foremost, things like TDE, which, by the way, are available even in standard edition in our cloud portfolio. So you get standard edition with TDE, even at that entry point without the other more advanced features. Even that is pretty great compared to other things in the market. So we do a really good job of securing data at the source. Securing at speed, that's all about staying ahead of threats as they come. Tushar talked a bit about this before, but can't emphasize enough. Oracle's really, really good at this. We have a lot of teams of people and agents, frankly, continuously looking at vulnerabilities, fixing things, all that. This is all stuff that we do across the stack. So we're not talking just about the database. We're talking about all the infrastructure around the database too. And the fact that we automate this, we do it all automatically. Our lifecycle management features keep things up to date. That's all sort of built into the product, and there's a user experience around it that's efficient. That's a game changer in this market too, because again, these mid-sized businesses, maybe they don't have the resources to go out and hire people to keep all this stuff secure. We do it for them. And then secure through resilience. Finally, we're able to, if there is some sort of an event and we need to recover, we have the tools to do that. If you need to, there's a whole ransomware attack story with ZDLRA. We have ways to get around that. We've got that integrated into the product. The ZDLRA as a backup destination is integrated into the product. Many ways our cloud automation can help people dig out and be more resilient. Okay, so let's discuss some economic and competitive angles here. So first and foremost, we enhance our economic competitiveness here by choosing the kit wisely, right? But it's not only that it's low cost hardware, it's fit for purpose hardware. So the best value that we can find, and that's sort of engineered in, starting with the physical infrastructure itself. But there's obviously a lot more to total cost than just, you know, the price tag of a piece of hardware, right? And so that's where all this kind of cloud automation and full stack integration help to reduce the administrative costs as well. Features like the HA and DR facilities that I mentioned before, you know, that really helps not only lower the costs of having my people operationally having to do all this work, but it also lowers the costs associated with planned or unplanned downtime. I mean, if you have an event, that's obviously very expensive, both in terms of direct expense and opportunity costs. You know, if you're losing business because this thing's down, we help avoid those situations in the first place through our cloud automation. The fact that we support both database VMs and application VMs on this system can reduce the number of overall systems needed. So, you know, imagine a scenario where this system's in a factory and some type of an equipment cabinet. Maybe the customer has an application they need to run, but it doesn't really warrant having a whole other server, right? Well, the ability to take what would be a separate physical server that they'd have to not only buy, but also like maintain and power and all that, they can just consolidate that on this application VM. Maybe it's some small bespoke application for this manufacturing process that can reside right there next to the database on the same piece of equipment and save the cost. Let's talk a little bit now about the key differentiators versus some competitors. Just a sample of them here: Azure Stack Edge, Azure Local, AWS Outpost, Nutanix. You know, we run into Nutanix now and then because they have this whole DBaaS solution now. First of all, you know, our system is engineered by Oracle for Oracle, and so that's a differentiator that we have over these other competitors who are basically commodity infrastructure that are originally designed for general purpose workloads. We've tailored ours to be the best for Oracle database specifically, and that's an advantage we have. We support RAC. Most of the other vendors out there don't do that, and so that's a unique differentiator. I mentioned before the story about having the same cloud automation, the same kind of control plane experience across multi-cloud, on-prem, at the different satellite locations. That whole thing, that's something that none of these other competitors can really say to that degree about Oracle database. So that's a clear differentiator. Automation to do the updates and the lifecycle management and do validations on those activities. That's something that nobody else has for Oracle database to the extent that we have. This private AI use case that we've talked about, there are other vendors, obviously AWS and Azure have these AI services, but you know, if you're going to use them in conjunction with vector search and so forth from the Oracle database, stitching all these solutions together, especially if you're not egressing data to the public cloud, it's a much more arduous process to get all this set up. And you know, like vendors like Nutanix don't have these capabilities basically at all. At the price point that we're at in this market, we have a very comprehensive story for that versus these competitors here. So another thing that I think is really important for you as sellers, we did do this LA program, and so we got a lot of market feedback. We've taken a lot of feedback into the product from our LA test customers. But the real value for you as sellers, we did get a couple quotes from some of these LA testers. So we've got one from Swiss Post and one from Viscosity, which is a large North American reseller. Both of whom tested this product, had a really great experience. Swiss Post liked in particular the all-flash performance, and they talked a lot about you know, having that kind of automation at this low cost point. That was really valuable for them. Viscosity also mentioned the performance. They really liked the all-flash performance. There's been kind of some engineering's made a bunch of improvements in that area, and that's been really great. They also really like the provisioning experience because, you know, Viscosity does a lot of installations on Otis, for example, and this new orchestrated install process they found really beneficial. So these are public, these are approved. You can use these as sellers so that you can talk to customers about these too, which is great. So with that, you're all eagerly awaiting commercials. I'll turn it over to Nick.
Thank you, Bryce. So this product was based on the familiar Cloud@Customer commercial model, where we have our infrastructure subscriptions on our metered database subscriptions. So of course, we start with our infrastructure, and on top of the infrastructure, we place our VMs. We have our database VMs, which will be a metered eCPU consumption through Universal Credits, along with a license choice of either license included or BYOL. Then we also have our application VMs, which will be a metered consumption again through the Universal Credits. But unlike the database, these VMs will be OCPU. And the licenses that the customer brings to these VMs are going to be the customer's responsibility. So this is a very similar structure, commercial structure, execution, and delivery to the Exadata Cloud@Customer. This has been an established and proven process that works globally. This is going to work for both direct and indirect countries. And as we've mentioned a few times here, the infrastructure is going to be a non-metered 4-year contract with the option to extend that contract by 1 year. Database VMs are going to be provisioned via eCPUs, paid through Universal Credits, again, either BYOL or license included. And then we have the application VMs, which are OCPUs, metered through Universal Credits. So let's take a look at the configurations. So Bryson mentioned the configurations, but let's take a look a little bit deeper at those. The Oracle Data Infrastructure Cloud@Customer X11 contains the 2 database servers and 1 storage shelf. In that infrastructure, you'll have 120 usable cores and 1.3 terabytes usable memory, and also 11.6 terabytes of usable storage capacity. Customers will have the option to elastically expand that storage. Each storage expansion will add 11.6 usable terabytes, 11.6 terabytes of usable storage capacity, and we'll have the ability to expand the system up to 3 storage expansions for a total of 47.2 terabytes of usable storage. With the licensing, as we've mentioned a few times here, we have the option of BYOL. If the customers have their own licenses, they will have the option to bring those licenses to this infrastructure. Or if they don't have licenses or just choose to go license included, they can do that. We have our standard edition license if they choose to go license included, Enterprise Edition High Performance, and Enterprise Edition Extreme Performance. So each of the versions of the license included build on the previous version, and all of the versions, including BYOL, come with TDE, Transparent Data Encryption, and Data Safe at no additional cost. So if we take a look at the infrastructure pricing, we have 2 SKUs for the infrastructure. We have the first SKU, which consists of the infrastructure itself, which is the 2 compute servers and the storage tray. And then we have the storage expansion, which is the expansion drives to move up to the max configuration. We then have the installation and activation fee, as this is an Oracle-owned product. So Oracle will be doing the installation of it. And then for the customers that require data and device retention or DDR, we have those services that can be attached to both the infrastructure and the storage expansions. Moving on here, we have the Universal Credits or UC metered SKUs. These are the license included SKUs, and also the BYOL SKU. Lastly, we have our application VM SKU. Again, that is OCPUs per hour, where all of the database VMs are positioned as eCPUs per hour. So now, call to action. We need to align with the FY27 sales plays. Multi-cloud and autonomous database are the top existing priorities. For Cloud@Customer products, the sales plays are migrate and modernize. We need to continue to focus on customers on commodity hardware. There's no reason at this point for customers to reside on commodity hardware with an Oracle database. This is a perfect solution to get those customers onto Oracle hardware. We need to look at attaching AI value. The base database Cloud@Customer brings a unique ability to address customer strategic AI initiatives by bringing that private AI agent factory to the customer's data centers. We need to look at engaging technical resources. Bring in your cloud engineers, black belt specialists, whatever it may be. Ask them for assistance with sizing, HA, disaster recovery, migration, licensing, AI, and security architectures. And then lastly, quote and order. As of today, CPQ, CA, and SAR forms are active and ready for quoting and advancing opportunities. So at this point, I will turn it back over.
Thank you, Nick. If I can get my camera to turn back on here. I'm on here. Well, there it goes. Thank you, Nick, and Bryce and Tushar for a really great run through. We're really excited about this, and as you can see, I've got a couple more quotes for you here. Our analyst friends, industry influencers are extremely excited about this. Talking about how it's it's a foundational technology for an actual enterprise AI fabric. This is from Carl Olofsson. Some of you may know him as the person who was behind the prime analyst for IDC for a number of years. Dave Vellante from the Cube Research is talking about it, how it's delivering architectural consistency alongside deployment flexibility. You'll see this time and time again, where we're delivering something that's large with Exadata database service running on an Exadata Cloud@Customer or running in our multi-cloud environments, but now we're bringing this in, consistent environment into the customers, mid-range customer sites, remote locations, basically wherever it's needed. How Brad Shemin is saying, this is a 1-2 punch, a powerful 1-2 punch for enterprise AI, and really giving customers the choice that they need to have. And how Mark Stamer is saying it's, this really addresses the needs of many organizations that require a cost that they can afford. So we're really pumped about this. We're really excited about what we see from our analyst friends. There are a number of assets to leverage. There's an announcement blog that's already out. You can find that on the blogs.oracle, the Database Insider blogs. There's an analyst perspective blog on the same thing. There's a customer presentation. It's available in Seismic, and I believe it's on database.oraclecorp.com. We've updated the web page with some more specific information, specifically the base database web page. And then we've done some social promotions on LinkedIn, on X, Facebook, etc. And also you'll notice that Ashish has got out his own post already on LinkedIn, so you can leverage that. We've got a few things that are coming. They'll be coming on later. We have an internal FAQ. We've got a battle card. We've got some demos that are coming, some influencer reports, etc., etc. You can see here the links to the web pages, internal web page, the external web page, the Slack channel, and the internal email alias. And I want to emphasize, for those of you who want to dig deeper on the technical aspects of this, we'll next week, a week from today, we'll have a deep dive technical seminar that the team will be running, and you can go in, listen to their questions, and listen to what they have to say. Ask more questions, and really figure out how to correctly propose this to your customer. Now, let me just give you the top key takeaways from this. Because Oracle-based database cloud customer is really exciting for a lot of people. It's really about private AI for data anywhere. That's the one thing you need to think about: private AI for data anywhere. It's a simple unified hybrid cloud platform for data applications, AI agents. And they can be those capabilities can be deployed on the same infrastructure anywhere, giving you a single, simple, easy to manage infrastructure. It's engineered for Oracle AI database. It's got built-in high availability, security best practices, lifecycle management automation through the OCI control plane, and Oracle managed infrastructure. This frees up your customers to be able to focus more on innovation and less in terms of managing their actual infrastructure. And it's affordable. It's affordable infrastructure with automation and pay-per-use database licensing that help reduce capital costs, administration, downtime, which of course has a real cost as well as maintenance. And with that, I think we're going to conclude our prepared remarks. And Amar, I think we're going to go through and take not take some questions. We're going to answer some of the questions that have been asked during the session.
Yeah, sure. Thank you so much, Michael, Tushar, Bryce, and the rest of the team. Yeah, please go ahead and unmute yourself if there's any questions that are top of mind that you want to articulate on, or if there's any common themes that you guys saw.
Tushar, what jumped out of you of the questions you've seen so far?
Oh, I've not been able to see the questions because I've been flipping the
you're
slides.
driving. You're driving.
But I don't know if anyone else.
Maybe Bryce. I'll ask Bryce. Bryce, what's jumped out at you?
What's jumped out at me in terms of the questions or the content?
Yeah.
Well, I just think there's a lot of interest in it, and folks probably want to understand the use cases better. I'm getting a lot of questions even offline right now about the AI solution. So I think there's going to be a lot of not only opportunity there, but just like cross-pollination of knowledge about all these different use cases that are new to all of us. So it's going to be a fun one, I think.
Yeah, I think there's a question about demos and stuff. So folks, we are absolutely working on all demos. In fact, it should come out very soon. Our basic demos on provisioning the system, the provisioning the regular data, the database lifecycle stuff, but even the AI capabilities that are going to be part of the service. So we are, we'll offer all these demos out there. And then yes, we'll definitely have these in the solution center at some point. I don't know. Is there anything else out there, Ashish, or that came up that because I've not been watching the Q&A chat closely.
Well, there were a number of questions about the AI functionality. I'll just point out, people were questioning, do we have GPUs in the box? Can you reach out to other? And the answer is no. This is a data-focused solution where we're intending to run sort of applications that are primarily need to have the access to the data on the same box. If you need access to GPUs, the private AI container services container, I always get that backwards, does have the ability to call out to GPUs that you may have in your customers may have in their infrastructure or somewhere else.
I think the other thing I would add, Michael, if there are opportunities for having a GPU in this system, please come to us. Let us know.
Yes.
We'd love to understand your requirements. Yeah.
But
as Michael said,
another thing,
yes, Michael said that a lot of people that use GPUs, they use a farm of GPU clusters, right? So they kind of offload that computation to that farm of GPU clusters. But if there is a real requirement out here, we'd love to hear.
And a lot of the smaller, we have some demos that you'll see later on. A lot of the smaller instances, if you're doing inferencing, if you're doing, a single embedding of a single piece of information, like in a RAG environment, it actually takes more time to go off to a GPU because of the way you have to package things up than it does to actually just run it locally sometimes. So, you can do significant, serious, I should say, AI related work on this platform as we have it now. So Krishna, you turned on your camera. Did you have some questions you wanted to address?
There were some questions about differences between Exadata Cloud Customer and Base Data Cloud Customer, Base DB Cloud Customer. And I think this is well addressed by Tushar at the beginning, and Bryce as well. I do want to say that Exadata Cloud Customer can be typically deployed in customers' data centers, while this solution can be in branch offices, remote locations, anywhere that a customer wants to deploy this. Retail warehouses, manufacturing spokes, all of those locations. So that's the clarification I wanted to provide. That's a set of questions that I saw as well.
There's a few folks that have raised their hand. If you can ask a question in the Q&A, we'll be sure to address them. In the meantime, is there any other questions that you guys like to highlight? All right.
Does base database come with I believe that means rack by default? And the answer is no. We're expecting customers to put it in their existing racks.
Or you could sell them one.
Hmm?
Or you could sell them one.
No, you can sell them one.
Yeah.
True. We'll take the order. Okay. Mar, I think that's pretty much it.
Good to go. Okay. Thank you, everyone. Like we said, we'll share the presentation and the recording within the next 24 hours. Thank you all. I'll conclude the webcast now.
Thank you.
Recording stopped.